Hey, what's up? We're back with part 2 of my FNAF rewrite, The Legacy of Spring Bonnie. Since the last video, I've decided to delete Sammy since he didn't really do anything and I've never cared about him as a character. The reason I added him in the first place is because he was in the books and I thought I could do something interesting with him, but it turns out I couldn't. Someone else can take over Fazbear Entertainment when William and Henry retire. Anyway, the next section is 1997, aka FNAF 2. Yes, FNAF 2 is a sequel this time. This section of the rewrite is pretty new compared to everything else in the story, including future stuff, so I don't have as many ideas or a solid timeline. Suggestions are welcome. Originally, it wasn't going to be there at all, but it felt weird to not have the toy animatronics. I'm sorry, Mango, my beloved. Let me just rattle off what I have so far, in no particular order. Number 1. Freddy's Play Place opens. The animatronics are just the 4 toys and nobody else, because holy shit that's redundant and I already have too many damn characters in this rewrite. Number 2. William gets kidney cancer and survives. Number 3. His mother Camilla and brother Paul return to his life after like 20 years and learn not to be homophobic. Or I guess, biphobic. The brother is more accepting and Michael wants to tear his grandma's head off. I don't have set personalities for them yet. Number 4. Henry is still struggling to cope with Charlie's death, though not as much as before. After all, it is coming up on the 10-year anniversary. Number 5. Michael becomes a foster parent. His kid wants to see the new Freddy's, but he is reluctant because he really doesn't want anything to do with Fazent after the trauma he went through, which is also why he doesn't become the new CEO. Number 6. The 4 bullies have since gone their separate ways, but Scarlet occasionally talks with the Aftons because of all they've been through together. However, she's stated to be in college to become a doctor. And yes, this is related to the Bite of 87. Also, Michael started physically transitioning during the 90s, so good for him. That, and he went to college to become a childcare worker, and joined a rock band. He has 2 wolves inside him. And eventually 2 babies, but we'll get to that later. Up next is Fazbear Frights, which takes place in 2008 to 2010. I really like the idea of Vanny being a copycat killer, so that's what I did. However, I also liked a sympathetic Vanessa. So I pulled a move I did earlier and split them into 2 people. They're twins! That way I can write Vanny as batshit insane and unsympathetic as I want and no one will get mad. She's the maniacal, jokey type like Spinel from Steven Universe. Her real name is Tamara Ainsworth, and the reason she goes by Vanny is because of a failed attempt to frame her sister for crimes. Tammy is short for Tamara, and it sounds vaguely similar. I didn't want to call her Annie because that's too similar and boring. Growing up, they had a rough life. Their father, Emmett, was abusive, and during the divorce when the girls were 11, Vanessa sided with their mother, Harper, while Vanny sided with their father. Vanny was raised by her father, separated from the rest of the family, and that's why she became that. I based this backstory on the security breach therapy tapes. Sometime in her mid to late teens, she heard about the Spring Bonnie killer and slowly but surely became obsessed with him, and developed an interest in bunnies, robots, and a general 80s aesthetic. What's funny is that she was born in 1988, the same year as the MCI, and that was unintentional on my end. Yes, she's proud of that fact. So at age 20, Vanny created Fazbear Frights, a horror attraction based on the past tragedies of Fazbear Entertainment. Her animatronics are Dreadbear, Springtrap, the 4 Nightmare animatronics, and Night Marionette. I should mention that in this rewrite, Fazent is actually a good company, A, because the owners are good people, and B, the idea of company bad is fucking boring and overdone. In my opinion, canon Fazent isn't even funny anymore, just stupid and cartoony. Vanny's younger brother Lyle played the phone dude in the horror attraction, making jokes about the bite of 1990 and even wearing bandages around his head. He's like 14 and being manipulated by Vanny, so don't blame him. He'll grow out of it. At this point, Michael and Scarlet had properly reunited and stayed in each other's lives. Despite not being married, they had 2 kiddos together, twins Gregory and Abby, born in October 2006. Yes, Abby from the movie. It took me stupidly long to realize I could make them both Michael's children and have him be able to get bottom surgery afterwards. Twins, because duh. What's funny is that Abby was originally going to be Elizabeth's kid because, at the time, I couldn't see Mike having biological kids before Gregory. Then my idea was to have Michael be the surrogate dad, since Abby looks more like Michael than Elizabeth. Then my idea was for Michael to send the twins away to different families so Noah can come after them, even though it doesn't really fit his character. Again, it took me stupidly long to come up with the current solution. The wiki says Abby is 10, and I've always seen Gregory as 10, so it works out. Plus, Mike doesn't have to go through 9-month gender dysphoria more than once. Since Scarlet is black, this means Gregory and Abby have a darker skin tone than in canon. I also gave Gregory freckles because it fits his spunky personality, and green eyes like William and Lizzie to show that he is definitely an Afton. I think he looks pretty cute. Also, I felt the need to give Abby blue eyes like Michael. I don't know why. I think she looks nice though. Vanny made a recreation of the Bite of 87 and asked Michael to do a speech. Obviously, he had a panic attack and refused. It's around this time that William and Henry pass the business down to Sam. Whoops, forgot he wasn't here. And he launches a lawsuit against Vanny, who's pissed. Remember Dave? He's still haunting the tattered Spring Bonnie suit despite his dead body being replaced with an endoskeleton. He is in Vanny's possession and they like to be evil together. I imagine their dynamic is similar to a mix of Pinky and the Brain and Light Yagami and Misa Amane. Vanny followed Michael home and found out where he lived, so Springtrap hobbled all the way there and threatened him and his children's lives via the doorbell camera. Mind you, Mike assumed he was dead this whole time. Well, I guess he was kind of right. And this is in the middle of the night, so of course he's terrified and files a police report the next morning. He has no reason to think Cassidy and Evan are still around, nor does Springtrap. I still need a solid reason as to why Cassidy and Evan can't contact the Aftons before the plot allows them to, even though they're just stuck in the attic, haunting the demolished animatronic pieces that Henry asked for after Dave's death. Any suggestions? Michael was labeled as a hero in the town, by the way. His parents were very proud of their little baby boy. Benny does her best to fight the lawsuit for 2 years but is unsuccessful. She and Springtrap form the revenge plan to kidnap the now 4-year-old Gregory. Just Gregory. Springtrap wants him to be a replacement for Evan, as he is still obsessing over his death and is still mad at the world. Gregory is successfully kidnapped, and the Aftons are devastated. Despite the police's best efforts, the trio is never found. Gregory grows up sheltered and lonely, taught to be a little menace to society, and to do whatever it takes to reach his goals. On the 1-year anniversary of his snatching, Scarlet kills herself, leaving Mike and Abby alone. She wanders off somewhere, the only evidence being a suicide note. Gregory was miserable under Springtrap and Vanny's care, so they decided to create him a friend, the Mimic. The Mimic, you say? I thought the secret of the Mimic stuff didn't exist in this rewrite. Well, that's still true. However, I figured I'd steal David Murray's backstory and use it for Gregory, just changing it up a bit to fit my own narrative. Like in canon, the Mimic can change size to fit in any costume, and mimics behaviors. In terms of personality, he was able to grow and adapt, as his ability to love was stilted at best, considering who his creators were. Despite his childish nature, he could also step in and protect Gregory if need be, like an older sibling. Perhaps this was a I can't say my own fucking name. Perhaps this was a rose-colored depiction of what Michael and Evan's relationship should have been. Dave even programmed him to have Evan's voice. Gregory received the Mimic as a gift at Christmas after his 5th birthday. The shy child was a little scared of the Mimic at first, as it was presented to him as a bare endoskeleton with glowing orange eyes, but it wasn't long before the two of them became inseparable friends. He even ended up giving the Mimic a name. I'll call him Garrett for now, unless I come up with something better. But Tammy and Dave never refer to him as such, always saying him as just a robot. Do not make it just a robot joke, I swear to God. Whenever Gregory was upset, usually because of his abuse, the Mimic would always be the one to comfort him. In fact, the Mimic did everything. Read Gregory bedtime stories, played games with him, tended to his wounds, homeschooled him, etc. Gregory and Garrett had a close bond for 2 years, but then one day, they tried to run away and escape their abusive home. They didn't get far, but Dave was enraged, so he took a bat and destroyed the Mimic in front of Gregory. Tammy was there as well, holding him back so he wouldn't get in the way. Gregory was devastated, and this shattered his trust in them even more. Upon being wrecked, the Mimic developed the capacity to feel fear, as well as trauma. Gregory cried in his room for the rest of the day. He didn't try to run away for quite some time, but he barely talked to either of them for several months, even when they tried to make him happy. He didn't trust receiving gifts or making friends. It was around this time that Tammy started asking Gregory to help lure in children for her, as a child would be more likely to trust another child. She never told him her true intentions, and he didn't think anything of it, since he knew she worked at a place for children. I don't know exactly what this place is. Originally it was going to be the Pizzaplex, but it doesn't really line up with the timeline anymore. so figure it out. In September 2011, Elizabeth opened up Circus Baby's Party World, not Pizza World. I figured since Funtime Chica is here, I'd just combine the two names. The animatronics were Funtime Freddy and his Bonbon hand puppet, Funtime Chica, Funtime Foxy, Ballora, Balloon Boy, Fun Size Freddy, nicknamed Helpy by the staff, and of course, the star of the show, Circus Baby. There's no Biddy Babs, Mini Renas, or Bonnet because they're all pointless and redundant. As a young child, Liz owned a yarn doll with white skin, red pigtails, and blue eyes, which she took with her everywhere and called her baby. This was the inspiration, except she gave Baby green eyes to match her own. Or maybe heterochromia, I'm not sure yet. She still owns the doll to this day, where it sits on her living room shelf in a display box. I'm sure Michael probably had a stuffed box as a child or something since that's his special interest. Also, when Lizzie was younger, she made a cutesy white and pink fox mask to match her brother, and he was mortified. And no, the Funtimes do not have the capability to murder. I want that detail to be unique to the FNAF 1 animatronics, being haunted and vengeful and all. There's also the Glamrocks with the Vanny virus, but I don't think they actually kill, at least not in my rewrite. They just bring children to her so she can do it. That means the toy animatronics don't kill either, no matter how much you want Toy Chica to kick her skull in. Also, her beak isn't removable either because I think she looks stupid without it, and not at all like a chicken. However, the toys, the Funtimes, the Glamrocks, and the Mimic are all sentient because I think that it makes things more interesting. Instead of a pizza joint, although they did sell pizza, Elizabeth's restaurant would be circus-themed, complete with a massive red and white striped tent. Or rather, a building made to look like one. William and Henry taught Liz everything they knew about robotics and business, wanting to see her succeed and maybe even surpass Fazbear Entertainment. A team of workers helped her bring her dream to life, building the animatronics themselves, the tent, and a bunker underneath Liz's home in which she would name after robotics, where the animatronics would be placed at the end of each workday. Remember how I said Michael didn't want to hear about Fazbear stuff because of past trauma? Well, Abby pulled a Canon Elizabeth and said,
"Don't tell Daddy that I'm here. I wanted to watch your show too. I don't know why he won't let me come see you. You're wonderful."
This takes place shortly after Gregory meets the Mimic. Abby's excited to see her auntie's new creations, and her family is torn on whether they should respect Michael's wishes or make Abby happy. It doesn't help that Scarlett recently died. And that's all I've got. I need to write more down and of course record it, so yep.